If you remember this, you qualify for a veteran's discount.
Mario Kart Wii was one of, if not the biggest game of the late 2000s. A fun karting game you could play with up to 4 players, releasing for the most casual option of a 7th generation of consoles, was a better combination than peanut butter and chocolate. And it definitely showed, as Mario Kart Wii was the second best-selling title for the system, only being outsold by Wii Sports, which was bundled in with the console at launch. However, with every big fish comes a leech on the belly. If Mario Kart was a bluefin tuna, the influx of low-quality kart racers were the leeches. This is what I personally like to call the Kart Racer Kraze, an era where anybody and everybody was trying to make a kart racer to either contend with Mario Kart or to make as much money as possible in the quickest way possible. But in between all of the poor quality kart racers was one game that came out during this craze that tried what it could to stand out. Releasing in 2009, less than a year after Mario Kart Wii, exclusively for the Wii, was a game called NASCAR Kart Racing. In this episode of Cartridges and Consoles, we'll take a look at NASCAR's entry into the Kart Racer Kraze and see how it was able to contend with other kart racers and offering a unique experience, but also how it could have fallen in line with its rivals at the time. Now, before talking about the game, let it be known that there are typically 2 types of NASCAR games. You have your simulator games, similar to Madden NFL or NBA 2K, that put you in the role of a driver through the NASCAR season, and then you have your arcade-style racing games that throw all the serious stuff out the window and play like casual kart racers. NASCAR Kart Racing, as the name suggests, falls into the latter category. The game is a basic kart racer at its core. You race 3 laps around a racetrack while pelting your opponents with items and try to reach the finish line first. However, the game has a unique mechanic most kart racers don't. When selecting a driver, you also have to select a teammate. Now, unlike other team modes in kart racers like Mario Kart, where the teammate is another AI you have to worry about, here your teammate plays an integral part into your success. Whenever you're in close range to your teammates, you'll be in the zone, which will charge up your boost meter. You then can chain boost with your teammate to achieve slingshots to gain advantage in the field. You can also drift to build up your boost meter, but being in the zone is faster on average. On top of a teammate, you'll also have a rival duo you have to beat in a race. Your rivals will be either on your bumper or in the lead the entire game, and it's your goal to try and find a way to beat them overall. As for game modes, you have the option between a quick race, the championship career mode, which has you completing series of races and challenges to unlock drivers and racetracks, and special events, which involve completing track-specific challenges such as solo time trials, teammate time trials, precision driving, where you have to drive through gates, and the distance challenge, where you have to chain boost to drive as far as possible in a limited amount of time. On top of all of this, there's also collectible trophies that you can achieve by completing specific challenges in the challenge mode or in the special events. Now, while there may not be a lot of merit based on the description, NASCAR Kart Racing has a lot of positive attributes to it. Like other Wii kart racers, you can play with up to 4 players and can play with a myriad of different controllers. From the simple Wii wheel to the more advanced classic controller and GameCube controller, there's a controller choice for everybody. Along with this, the multiplayer option is available in every mode, not just in quick races, meaning you can work together in the career mode or the special events to try and clear challenges as a group or compete for who can beat it first or the best. While other kart racers like Mario Kart did have team modes, you weren't allowed to do career mode or challenges in multiplayer. So this distinction that NASCAR Kart Racing has allows for a more fun experience and more replayability. On top of the multiplayer, you have a pretty extensive lineup of 14 NASCAR drivers to choose from that range in popularity. All of these drivers have their own set of attributes. Jeff Gordon is good at drifting and building boost, Kevin Harvick is good at drifting and bumping other drivers, and Elliott Sadler is the most average driver in the field, perfectly encompassing people's feelings toward him. The drivers also have the same sponsors and paint schemes from their NASCAR cars when the game released, with the only exception being Casey Kane, who's sponsored by himself. This is mainly because his sponsor at the time was Budweiser, and even though we have sponsors for chemical companies, energy drinks, and GameStop, the alcohol sponsor is the one we can't have in an E-rated game. You even have some unlockable NASCAR drivers too. Earning 43 trophies unlocks Richard Petty, and earning 51 trophies unlocks Joey Logano. Now, if you don't want to grind the game out for that long, there are cheat codes you can use, and if you bought the game from GameStop, you got the Joey Logano unlock code for free. Oh, don't worry, we'll talk about those characters later. As for racing in the game, the controls feel pretty fluid. When playing the game, I really felt no requirement to drift since the steering is pretty solid on its own. There's also this fun minigame of sorts where you mash the accelerator as quickly as possible before the race starts to earn boost points. The game's item selection is also pretty solid. Most of the items are just carbon copies from Mario Kart. Oil slicks are like bananas and cause you to spin out, rockets are like red shells and target the driver in front of you, the free pass is like a bullet bill and shoots you up from the back to the front of the field, etc. But there is a unique item in the form of the Shockwave, which sends an energy burst that stuns nearby drivers. This item plays very similarly to Mario Kart 8's Super Horn, and this game predates that by 5 years. So next time someone complains that the Super Horn is ripped from Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing, you can tell them that NASCAR did it first. But of course, no racing game is complete without the tracks, and there are some very strong contenders here. My favorite tracks are the ones that take direct inspiration from the actual NASCAR tracks. Apart from Talladega, which is an oval with some shortcuts here and there, these tracks have entirely different layouts helping them stand out. Daytona's track layout is almost perfectly geographically correct, having you go through the airport directly behind the track and to the nearby beach. Dover is an absolute roller coaster with its mascot Miles the Monster having an underground lair, and Bristol incorporates the surrounding Thunder Valley into the track layout. Now, these real NASCAR tracks take up a third of the track selection, and while the other tracks are good and have enticing layouts, I do have a small problem with them. That being just how generically themed they all are. There's no original or actual theming present. The tracks are just generic junkyard, generic desert, generic harbor, generic canyon, etc. Heck, there are 2 generic city tracks in the game. It would have been cool if these other tracks were themed to other NASCAR tracks, like if the desert track was Phoenix Raceway or one of the city tracks was Auto Club Speedway. But hey, at least they're pretty good tracks to race on overall. However, the biggest issue I have with the game is the unlockable drivers. Richard Petty and Joey Logano are fine, but there's 10 other unlockable characters known as the Outsiders. These are original characters created solely for this game. Now, I'm not totally against original characters, but they could have replaced these with anybody, such as drivers created for NASCAR media like Ricky Bobby or Stroker Ace, or retired drivers like they already did with Richard Petty. But no, instead they made original characters with generic names like Terry Winsome and the Backfire Brothers. Like, who makes original characters for NASCAR? Okay, forget I said that, but the point is these characters just feel so out of place here. However, I can somewhat excuse both of these issues as they may have been done to avoid licensing agreements. The developers could probably only get the license for 4 racetracks and 14 drivers, and anything past that would have been too much. Another minor complaint I have with the game is with the music. While it's definitely not awful, some of the songs are a bit bland to listen to. This could be because the 3 genres present are rock, techno, and techno rock, but the soundtrack overall isn't a big highlight of the game here. Overall, NASCAR Kart Racing is a very underrated entry in the kart racing craze. It does have some flaws, and there are obviously a lot of parts that could have been approached better, but it still is an enticing kart racer that had a unique feature that other kart racers at the time did not have. It may not be the best representation of NASCAR, but it's overall a fun karting game that anybody with a Wii should try out. NASCAR Kart Racing on the Nintendo Wii gets my rating of 8 cartridges out of 10.